All right. So next we have Dr. Gayatri with us. She is from India and she is the program officer at the Lalit Kala Academy. And she will be, sorry about the disturbance. Right. Right. Dr. Gayatri, whenever you are ready, please.
Was I mute?
Yeah, you're
Okay,
muted for a
you.
while. No worries, ma'am. Please continue. Sorry, Dr. Gayatri. We could not hear you. The voice was very low. Yeah, your voice is very low. Sorry. Dr. Amareshwar, can you listen to Dr. Gayatri? Because I'm having...
I can't hear.
Right. Dr. Gayatri, there is some issue because we can't hear your voice. You can, turn off the headset and then again plug in. Sometime, they get issues.
Yeah, Meena, can you hear me?
Yes, very clearly. Thank you.
I think
Please continue.
My headphone, which was not. Thank you so much, David sir, for inviting me over, and thank you, Meena. The topic, Meena has already introduced me. I'm working at Lalit Kala Academy. I'm there as a program officer. But my passion is, researching into Aboriginal art and, communities which are not contemporary. So they are contemporary, but they're not really treated at par with contemporary is the right term that I would like to use. So tribal arts for me has been almost for 10 years. I have been working with Indian tribal artists. And the only reason why we are calling them tribal arts is because they are coming from the category of tribes. But they are all contemporary artists. They're currently working. And a lot of them are, working on many contemporary issues. So this is just for convenience driven that we are calling them tribal arts of India, who have been working in their field. So, my focus is going to be on the women artists and the role that they have played in, developing these tribal arts of India. So, just to give a brief of the tribes of India, in India we have approximately 705 ethnic groups which are recognized as scheduled tribes. In mostly these scheduled tribes are, the concentration is more in central India, and in our normal colloquial language we call them Adivasis, which basically means indigenous people. And we have a population of approximately 104 million. That is almost 8.6% of the total population of India. And there are many more ethnic groups which do not come under the category of the tribe. I think there's some disturbance, Meena.
Please continue.
Am
I
I
have muted. Yes, please. Please continue.
Yeah, so what I was saying was that, there are many tribes or there are many indigenous group of, however, they are still indigenous. So what we are seeing is just the top of the iceberg, the 104 million and 8.6% population that I'm talking about is just the top of the iceberg as tribes. However, if you see their intangible cultural heritage, their behavior pattern, their lifestyle, and they have a very strong community-driven and sense of relation to their own community, through which you can identify them as indigenous people. So and just to give a brief to people who are not from India, mostly the largest concentration of indigenous people, as I said, is in the central tribal belt. So what we're talking about is Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, looking after Gujarat. These are the states that we're looking. So I will be focusing on most tribes which are coming from the central India only. The first tribe that I'm talking about is the Bhil art. Now the Bhil, they paint most of these tribes painted on their homes, on their walls, and the color and things that they used was generally made out of rocks or semi-precious stones or clay. These are the items which were earlier used for the wall. However, now they have moved on, and with a lot of um, most people know James went through these areas. He researched into their paintings, and he was the first one to give them brush and paint and canvas. So most of these artists have now moved on to canvas paintings, and they're doing works on contemporary mediums. So the female artist related to the Bhil tribal community is Buri Padmashri, and if you list, the only thing that she knows or what she feels is what is painted on her canvas. So these people are coming from very down to earth places. They are very true to their nature, to their environment, and that's what is also depicted in their art. This is one of her work, which is also in the collection of Lalit Kala Academy. In 2014, we had done a tribal camp, national conclave for the tribal artists. So this work was a very important is one, because they are safeguarding their methods and their style, which is being transferred from wall to canvas. The second thing is because they're also talking about their rituals, their stories, their local gods, and a lot of things in these narratives. So right now, this painting might just seem a very primitive sort of a painting to most eyes, but the story behind it, or the custom that is depicted here, where there's an animal sacrifice which is being depicted, and there is sort of like small size Olympia depicted in the center, the red pillar. So this particular pillar is what I'm talking about. And these people you can see on both sides, they're trying to climb up. So this sort of a
disconnect.
All right. Sorry.
Sometimes it happens. Don't worry about it, and the tomorrow session will be smooth. You see. Okay.
All right.
so,
Dr.
Meena,
Gayatri.
am I good to go?
Yes, please. Sorry about the interruption.
I can hear you.
Just talking about was that they are the humans and the animals that you can see in this work are very in sync. And then I just spoke about how Guribai, or winning the Padma Shri for her, how important it is because it is who are thinking of not continuing the field, especially during the pandemic. The hardest hit are the tribal artists because, there's sort of conclaves and most festivals or most places which were, asking them to come over, giving them camps or any sort of work, related to art is really dwindled. Contemporary artists still, they had the facility of being online, they had the facility of selling their works online. But when it comes to tribal community, there were very few places which really gave them that online sort of an edge. Some have smartphones, most of them don't. So that way, they really were hit in the pandemic. So I think it was, her winning the Padma Shri was really important for a lot of tribal artists. So, this is a younger artist, so you can clearly see the inspiration, from the same family. So, that sort of inspiration is kind of running down. This is another of the work. It's Anita's work. Now, the reason why I chose this work was because, you can, the works which I showed earlier, they have become very contemporary in their style. They're using, the artist has continued to use her finger, something very similar to what would be done on the wall. So she has chosen the colors which are very close to your colors, and she has chosen to make the marks with her finger, which would technically be the way they would be painting on the walls. Now, the second, the Gond art. Now, Gond art community is also belonging to central India, and the artist that I have chosen for Gond art is Japani Sham. She's the daughter of Jamgur Sham, who's considered to be the pioneer in creation of Gond art. So J. Swaminathan, he was the first artist J. Swaminathan identified in the Gond artist community. And it's her family, her mother, Nansukya, her brother Mayank Sham, who are kind of taking this forward. Of course, there are other artists also from the Gond community, like Venkat Sham, who has done a lot of works in this art form. But for me, Japani is very important because she, as a woman, is continuing her father's tradition, and there's a very contemporary touch to her works. So for a lot of times when I look at Gond art, I cannot, just the fact that they're coming from the Gond community, they're Gond artworks, but otherwise they are very contemporary. So this is one of her works, Soupe Ki Baat. This was also created in 2014 in the same conclave. And it talks about, how a woman, the soup, is considered to be something which is used in the household. And it is considered, when you hit, when you move the soup up and down, it's sort of a bamboo made sort of a vessel. So what it does, it removes the dirt and the debris, and it saves, the good grain. That's what it does. That's the utility of the soup. So in this particular work, she is showing a mother who is using the soup to remove the negatives. So the negatives are depicted through, snakes, spiders, cockroaches, and those sort of insects. And she's safeguarding the good. So this good is, kind of shown through the birds and the deers and stuff like that. This is another of her works. And her works are more, they are mostly animals, birds, trees, flora and fauna. That is what is mostly depicted in her works. Now, the next art form that I'm going to is the WARLI art, which is also, practiced in Maharashtra. And when you see WARLI art, it is very close to your prehistoric or, rock art. This is, and the artist that I've chosen is Meenakshi Vasudev Veda. She's a performing artist as well as a WARLI artist. And, WARLI art is also sort of a pictorial representation of their lifestyle and their living. So mostly these paintings which you see are depicted in the sort of, you know, village format. So it's a central house which is housing your deity, or, you know, any particular marriage procession or something which is going to happen in the community is depicted through a running storyboard. You know, when you go around the storyboard, you can see there is, you know, there's here you can see the groom and the, you know, their dancers, then there is their local god, which is depicted on a horse. Then again, a lot of dancing, people carrying water. So basically, it's a running storyboard. You know, there's a group of people dancing here. So another group, you know, bullock cart and people taking it that way. So arts are like a storyboard, you know, and there's a central piece, and then around it, there's a story of what is going on. Now, MEENA is a tribe which is basically residing in the Rathwari Hills, or you can say Rajasthan, is the, you know, state. You know, especially during, you know, Keshav Malik, who's an art historian, he brought MEENA art into the forefront, and a lot of MEENA artists and their artworks were depicted and, you know, displayed to the eyes of the contemporary art buyers and art collectors. However, currently MEENA artists are not very open because maybe they did not feel as comfortable as, you know, being in the open, because what they were doing was something which they were beautifying their homes and huts, and then the rush of the buyers or the rush of the collectors was something which was not easily acceptable by them. So it is very hard to bring any MEENA artist to any of the contemporary cities for any camps or workshops. I have faced a lot of problem with this community. So the artist that I am talking about today is NIDHI MEENA. She is a contemporary artist, of course. She has trained in Banasali University, and she has been working, you know, on her tribal forms and her tribal style. That's what she's been working for. So this is very, it's very close to your, you know, WARLI art, but the forms are very different. So the usage of red and white is very prominent because, you know, red is your geru and the white is the rice paste, which is used on the wall. So this kind of continues in your current paintings also. Next is SORAI art. And even the SORAI is also a festival which is used to express gratitude and affection towards their livestock. It's a harvest festival. Most of these arts are, you know, around harvest festivals or some sort of, you know, community festival like a wedding or, you know, any sort of birth or something like that. So the SORAI artist that I have chosen is Putri Ganju. And Putri Ganju is, I mean, her style has been specialized as the Ganju style, and most SORAI artists are kind of creating, you know, works which are inspired through her form. This is one of Putri Ganju's work. It is an acrylic on canvas, but the colors that she has chosen are so earthen that for a minute it kind of confuses you and you feel like it's a wall painting. This is another of SORAI artists, Prabha Devi, relatively a younger artist. And now I've chosen Madhubani. Madhubani exactly is not considered to be a tribal art form. It's a traditional art form coming from, you know, the Mithila region. And but however, their community is, as I said, you know, they are very community knit artworks. So that is the reason why I have chosen to keep this here. And the Madhubani artist that I've chosen is Meenakshi. She's a contemporary painter by profession. She's living in Delhi, and she has been trying her level best to bring out Madhubani artists and supporting them in Delhi, bringing to a lot of other fields like, you know, handbag, focus on Madhubani art as a painting. But being herself a contemporary artist, educated, she's still not left her roots behind. You know? Just excuse me, Meena. Second.
Sorry, you got accidentally muted. Please try to unmute again.
Yeah. Thank you. There was a little disturbance in the background session. So MEENAKSHI is she's currently living in Delhi, and she's making sure that there's a pillar of support, and she takes them around. She makes sure their work they're not ill-treated or misused, or they're not taken advantage of by other people. So that's her role when it comes to Madhubani artists in Delhi. This is one of her works, and you can see there's a transformation, and her contemporary education, of course, is playing a role in the way the work has changed. But however, the major icons that are used, the fish and the lotus and the way the things develop, is very similar. It's still picked from Madhubani style. Now, the next community is the RAJWAR community. And this community uses clay and hay to create jalis and a lot of architectural designs, in their works. And the artist that I have chosen is SUNDARI. She has, when I spoke to SUNDARI, the first statement that I remember was, I asked her what her age was. And she said that she just knows her craft, and she knows that she's been painting since, she was 16 or so. But she said she's not sure about her age. So, she knows her work more than even things about herself. That's what's amazing about it. So this is a work, of course, this is works which are done on boards, and it's a mixture of clay and hay through which these works are done and painted with poster colors. Now, the next community is the RATHWA community. This is also a very close-knit community, which is coming from, Rajasthan and Gujarat border. It's a community which doesn't allow outsiders to enter easily. They are very remote, and they are very, one of the conclaves I invited a RATHWA artist. And of course, I had a friend who, went ahead to their house. He was a national award, and she said that National Academy of Arts is inviting me for a camp. And for 4 days, I didn't hear from my friend, and from I didn't get any news. And I kept trying, her numbers unreachable. Finally, on the 4th day, I managed to connect with her. And I requested her, that what happened, boy, when is he coming? How is he coming? And she was like, I'm sorry. He was disappeared for 4 days. I said, how is that even possible? She's like, no, he just went to the jungle and sitting on a tree for 4 days. So they are so scared